Well, welcome back, my friends, to TED Talks, Guitars, and Life. So I needed a little bit of break from the action of painting and sanding and painting and sanding. No, actually, I've got some stuff drying and wanted to do a couple other things before I got on to other activities. So, clearly taped up the fretboard. I had, some unleveled frets, so I just decided I'd do a complete fret level. And then I crowned the frets, and then I polished the frets with, smoothed them out with, 400 grit, 800 grit, 1500 grit, 2000 grit. It's probably overkill, but that's me being me. And then since I had it all taped up, and I thought I'd throw some polish on here, so I've got my little Dremel that I purchased from the Zon, like 15 bucks, and just some random polish that I found. And so yeah, basically just put a very thin layer of that on the fret, use the Dremel, and yeah, man, take that off, take the polish off, and then after I untape everything, I will put a fresh felt kind of wheel on here, and I will polish these up a little bit more. I also need to condition the fretboard. The funny thing about this guitar neck, and I've had to, I may have looked at the headstock like 3 times recently, because you may remember from the unboxing, and you may remember from the under the hood of the Fesley kit guitar, which is what this is, Deluxe edition, that these frets out of the box looked more like brass than anything else. And in fact, if you go out to the Amazon description for the Fesley Deluxe Edition Telecaster, the link is in the description and one of the videos in the playlist about the Fesley build. The frets are listed as copper material. And they look that way. I can't really get a good angle on things. Maybe that's a good angle. But they don't look coppery at all now that I've dug into them a little bit. And so anyway, I just thought that was interesting. So they were really, and it didn't look like green, like it was just, needed to be polished or, oxidation or anything like that. And the literature suggested that it was copper. So I just thought I'd continue to find kind of a brass looking frets, but come to find out they look perfectly like silver to me. So anyway, man, that's where we are. So I'm gonna untape the neck, and then I'm going to condition the board. Oh, and just as an aside, you might see the assortment of towels laying around the fretboard. Let me tell you why that is. Man, a little bit of that polish goes a long way. So initially, kind of like the painting I've been doing of the body, I put like globs of polish on these frets. And so when I did that, man, that little Dremel wheel spewed. This was several weeks ago when I first started, maybe months ago now, who knows about time. When I first started using the polish and the Dremel, man, I had polish spittle everywhere. So I use the very smallest amount of polish and then Dremel. So, word to the wise, a little bit of that stuff goes a long way. You know, guys, nothing I do is prescriptive to any of you. This is just a description of my journey. That said, one of the things that I learned the hard way is that when you do the polishing, your hands get very dirty, particularly the hand that you would typically hold the guitar with. Okay, so I should have showed you the other side of the fretboard, the neck, the guitar neck. I had it taped completely because the first few times I did this with other guitars, like the Fesley, like the Fojill, and even the Demusea, I had some funk on my hands, and it got all over the neck, and it was very difficult to get off of the neck. And so one of the things that a good friend of mine and I were having some fellowship about guitar tools and, you know, all that kind of stuff, and I watched some of his videos, and, you know, just, I don't know, man, I'm just like y'all. I watch people do things I don't know how to do, right? And he said, man, keep you some baby wipes on your workbench and clean your hands, man, as you go. So before, you know, you take the tape off too much, you ought to really clean your hands up, man. And if you don't want to use baby wipes, man, wash your hands however you want to, okay? None of this is prescriptive, guys, right? It's just a tip. But it has really helped me. I'm just doing it a little bit more thoroughly as a demonstration. I've also learned to not pick the guitar neck up with my bare hands in that whole polishing adventure, and to use, you know, some kind of shop rag or something to always pick the neck up instead of just bare knuckling it, because all of the stuff, the funk that is on your hands will smooth come off on that guitar. And if it dries, it's not impossible to get off. You can get it off, but it's some work to it. So anyway, just a tip, man. Keep some baby wipes on your workbench or whatever you need or desire to use. The key idea is have a way of cleaning your hands as you're touching the neck along the way, particularly if your neck is sort of a lightly finished, unfinished kind of satiny thing. If it's high super gloss and all that, less of a problem, but still, man, save yourself a little bit of time on the cleanup of the neck by keeping your hands clean. You know, guys, I really don't know how one man can be so organized and disorganized at the same time. Does anybody know where my F1 oil is? What's going on around here? Have I mentioned lately how nothing I do is prescriptive, just descriptive? Not sponsored at all. Music Nomad F1 oil. This is what I use to condition fretboards. There are schools of thought on the approach, on the technique, as it were. Guess what? You do you, that's what I say. So I've done it a number of different ways. Put it on, let it dry, wipe it off. Today what we're going to do is we're going to put a drop or so on each fret. That, depending on who you watch, Music Nomad says just a little dab will do you. But I have found that sometimes, you know, anybody that hangs out on the channel knows I tend to overdo things. So, big shock. I use too much. Okay. So then I'm just gonna rub it in a little bit. I'm not worried about it getting on the side or the neck because there is a, whatever this rosewood is supposed to be, is also on the side of the neck. So in fact, I will on purpose make sure that I go all the way around the edges of the board. You know, kind of like so. And I'm not afraid to put a liberal amount on there. Now, I've had different results. This particular board it's really dry. So, and I've used it's just paper towel. Paper towels, by the way, do have a little bit of an abrasive consistency to them. So some would say that you're actually, kind of fine sanding the board too while you do this. I don't know if that's true or not. What do you guys think, man? Put it in the comments. I really need to secure my board better. I feel like a surfer. I need to secure my board, man. Anyway, that is the technique that I use. And again, I'm just trying to condition the board. And depending on how the board takes that oil, I will come back after some time and assess whether or not I want to do all that again. And if I do, I will. And if I don't, I won't. Okay. And then when I'm done conditioning the board again, I'm going to swap out. I need a different. Swap out my little felty thing. Yeah, I just use my hands, I know. Comes with a Dremel. And then you can buy replacement heads, you know. Oh, I don't know, man. Super cheap. I mean, like, super. And then what I'll do is I'll come back and, now again, this thing, and that fret will be popping. Not that I need it to be popping, but yeah, man. So again, none of this is prescriptive. You don't have to, you can do all this by hand, I'm sure. Watch other videos, man. That's what I do. F1 oil for the win for me. And then after you do it, you'll notice even when it looks dry, you'll come back and you'll see some of the oil coming back up. So just be careful that it kind of dries thoroughly before. Did I mention that nothing that I do is prescriptive or instructive? I'm just sharing my practices with you in the hopes that it's helpful. Watch other tubers, do your own research, make your own decisions, call your own shots. In other words, you do you. I did want to share that one of the other things that I typically do when I'm thinking about fretboards is oftentimes I will use true oil, otherwise known as gun oil in my part of the country. It's actually called gun stock finish. And this stuff is very potent. You don't need a whole lot. A little dab will do. So I threw all my paper towels away. I probably should have let you watch the procedure, but basically I put some true oil on a paper towel and rub it in the fretboard pretty well. Let it sit just for a couple seconds, 30 seconds or so, a minute, something like that. I didn't put a timer on it, and then I wipe it down with another paper towel. I use gloves when I deal with that for my delicate hands. No, protect yourself, man. Always mask up, or if you have a respirator, even better. Safety goggles, glasses, those kind of situations are always helpful when you're doing any kind of repair. Sanding, painting, whatever. Protect yourself. But anyway, this fretboard is now finished. It's everything I'm going to do to this before we reassemble. So a little true oil for kind of a sealer, if you will, and fretboard is done. Sorry about that. My video got interrupted by an alarm going off. It tells me I need to do something else. So yeah. Hey man, if you like this kind of content, if it's helpful, informative, fun, shareable, like the video and let me know. I don't know if you're enjoying this or not. And if you do like this kind of content, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Let me know that you're digging this. And come back and join us, man. Hang out some more. I make these videos for a couple different reasons. One reason is I do hope, man. I was talking to J-Man the other day. I said, bro, I don't think you understand how helpful your channel was to me in my journey and how helpful it could be to other people. So I'm just trying to help, man. Anybody that's out there looking. Again, it's not instructive. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just showing you what I do in the hopes that sharing my journey with you would be helpful. And the other thing, my daughter said to me the other day, she said, man, I hope you're documenting all this work you're doing for the grandkids, because when you're gone, we're going to want to show these videos at your funeral. And I was like, dang, girl, hopefully that's a long way away, Jack. But yeah, and so I am documenting just life for my own purposes, my own selfish purposes for my family. And so I go back and rewatch this and I go, man, why did you do that? Why are you touching that? Stop doing that. The same way you might say that to me some way through the camera. Well, man, that's the fretboard, that's the fretwork. So from here, what I'll do is put a fresh felt on here. I already did the first fret. And they'll be popping, man. So that's the update on the fretboard. So it's back to painting and sanding and painting and sanding. Hey, wherever you are in your guitar journey, whatever your day holds, man, I pray it's a long, smooth, safe, joy-filled ride for y'all, man. Rock on with your bad selves. I'll catch you down the road.